Welcome to Hellas Footy Podcast, episode 11. I'm your host, George. Let's get started. Steve, how are you, bud?
A mixture of illness and sleep deprived, but I'm here to
That's
talk
it.
about
As long as you're here, mate, that's amazing.
Yeah, it brings my mood up, and then when we're done, I'll get a frappe.
Your hair still looks good, man, so that's all right.
Oh, thank you.
Speaking of hair, Nico, nice new fresh haircut. How are you?
Good. As you said, long bloody overdue this haircut. Finally.
You had some big hair before, man.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Don't go there.
I kind of miss my hair like that. Speaking of thinning hair, actually, no, Greg's got good hair. Greg, how are you?
I'm good, mate. It was good to get a haircut in Sydney last week, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's it. And we've got a debut on today, Theo Hatz, big time. He's Nico's cousin, but he's a big time Greek football follower. Theo, how are you, mate?
Good to be here, George. Thanks for having me on.
That's it, man. So
hope you guys work. So,
who's your team, bud?
I hate to say it, but it's Panathinaikos. Long suffering, obviously. Right. Nick can talk a bit about that, obviously, and I'm sure I've heard him on previous podcasts as well.
And apparently you've got a soft spot for Aris as well.
I do. I have a very big soft spot for Aris. Probably more than that.
The fans, though.
Definitely the fans and Super Trio and all the rest of it.
It's an interesting two clubs to support, seeing as not many Panathinaikos fans like Aris.
No one likes Aris these days.
Yeah.
I always enjoy defending Aris to Apo. I'll say that much.
Yeah, no,
I cannot stand him.
And it'd be even better if at least come into the fold one day as well. But that's for another day. All right, boys. Well, we'll kick things off with the Super League, and then we'll move on to previewing the European matches ahead of us. So first cab off the rank, Asteras, 1-0 winners over Apollon. A goal in the 48th minute to Geronimo Barales was the difference in that game. Greg, I believe Asteras, that's first win off the first cab off the rank for them.
Yeah, finally got a win. It's only their second goal in the championship. Amazingly, they're a better team. Apollon show signs of improvements, but they got a long way to go. They're really struggling with goals and just not getting the points. And they've played a lot of games at home. So that's a devastating result for them. But Asteras, a much-needed win to get their campaign going.
Yeah, no, that's finally, because they were one of the teams that everyone predicted would be in the higher parts of the
They had a great pre-season, but it's during the season that counts, and that hasn't mattered.
No, absolutely. Nico, Panathinaikos and Hatz, 4-1 winners over Ionikos. Carlitos got the game started in the 6th minute with a goal. 5 minutes later, Salvador Sanchez equalised for Ionikos. And, it was an interesting start to that game. But just before halftime, in the 38th minute, Carlitos on the score sheet again. 2-1 at halftime. Wraps up his hat-trick in the 53rd minute with another goal for Carlitos there. And Sebastian Palacios got yourselves a penalty.
Yeah, he's off the mark.
79th minute, Ionikos got a player sent off, Salvador Sanchez.
The goal scorer.
Yeah, the goal scorer. Convincing 4-1 win for your boys. 7 shots on goal. How did you see that?
Yeah. Even going into the game, gone are the days, if you remember last season, I was worried about every game, home or away, no matter the opponent.
Score. Yeah.
Going into this game, I thought to myself, we're either going to win this by 3, 4, or 5 goals. I was that confident. Every home game, especially against these lower sides, I'm just that confident at the moment.
Yeah.
And it happened again. The man can do no wrong, Carlitos. He's got a new lease of life under a coach that plays to his strengths.
Well, yeah, because I remember last season he was playing behind the striker.
32 appearances, 6 goals. This season, 6 appearances, 7 goals.
7 goals.
He's already bettered last season's effort in a fraction of the games.
Well, he's the main focal point of your attack, whereas last season he wasn't really, was he?
He wasn't. Well, even earlier this season when Ioannidis was in the starting side, he's just coming back from injury slightly. Yeah, so he could become the number 10 again.
That's true.
Yeah, very good. Palacios got off the mark in Greece, which is good. He's settling in nicely. Hadzianis, again, can't complain with him. He's even the captain these days.
He wore the captain's band, did he? Yeah.
Yeah. Alexandropoulos, amazing as always. But the real unsung hero in this side is his midfield partner, Ruben Perez.
Ruben Perez has been, he's kicked off well this start of the season.
Yeah,
Theo,
real leader.
Theo, did you want to add to that, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Nick. Obviously, a few weeks ago, Panathinaikos had a bad loss against Aris, drew to Olympiakos, and obviously had a really good win against Ionikos. Do you feel that they're starting to turn a corner in terms of their form in the league?
We'll know more after this weekend. It's a massive game at Asteras. We've played 3 home games and we've scored 13 goals and taken maximum points. Contrast that to our away form, and we haven't scored a goal on the road. So something's got to change this weekend.
Well, I mean, look,
I think that's the key, isn't it?
Granted, we've played harder sides away.
You pick up your form. Yeah, well, you had the draw against Olympiakos.
What I liked about that is we saw another side to us where we were able to dig in and just, play not dirty, but just dig in and defend, be resolute.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we usually see, the free-flowing attack at home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, well, you've certainly got your season off the mark there, and
the feel-good factor.
The fans are coming back in there.
You guys are gonna owe Andoni an apology and a half at this rate.
We'll see about that.
I was with him early on.
Yeah, the league won in the early rounds.
Even the fans there. I was watching Total Football, and they spoke to some supporters after the game. One said, "Πάμε για το πρωτάθλημα φέτος," and another one said, I can't even bring myself to say this, "Στηρίζουμε τον Γιάννη Αλαφούζο."
Spirits are high. Spirits are good.
Yeah. Spirits must be high. They're all supporting Alafuzos now. Mate,
something's in the water.
Just check your Twitter account, Nico. He may have unblocked you. It's like your rugby league team where they just block everyone. Maybe he's the field back to back, so he's going to take all the praises now. Look, it's a good start for your team.
I was just going to say, I think the Dragons and Panathinaikos must have the same administrator of the Twitter account there.
No, I reckon the Dragons one's worse. Panathinaikos is just your typical Greek, Frapedaki, Cafe.
I'm even surprised. I'm even surprised he bothered looking at it back then. But anyway, I digress. Good start to the season. Yeah, look, it's good. But you always need a strong Panathinaikos, even as an Olympiakos fan. So good to see that the spirits are high at the club and things are moving on an upwards trajectory there for them. PAOK, 4-4 draw with Volos. Look, funny enough, Volos were the ones that got the game started with a goal there. Tom Van Weert has continued his good scoring form. In the 14th minute, he scored there. But then it all went downhill in the 24th minute. Fausto Grillo own goal in the 30th minute. Chuba Akpom scored. 32nd minute, Andrea Zivkovic got a goal. And then just before half-time, Zivkovic got his second. So 4-1 at half-time. You'd think the game is wrapped up there. But I don't know what happened, because in the second half, Julian Bartolo in the 54th minute and Kevin Rosero in the 62nd minute pulled goals back for the away side. Verdinha had an opportunity to put the game away, but unfortunately missed the pen there, and that came back to bite him a few minutes later because Jean-Pierre Reiner got the 4th goal. Crazy game. Game
of the season.
Well, depending on who you support. Maybe
I'm saying as a neutral.
As a neutral, yeah. I mean,
lots of soft goals. Lots of soft goals, but it was great to see 8 goals in a game.
Yeah. Now, Greg, I believe you picked this one up as well. Eh?
Yeah, I saw a bit of it watching Volos' progress, and look, they started off great. That was a wonder goal from Van Bert, but then it looked like PAOK was gonna do what Panathinaikos did to him and give him a bit of a hiding, and they scored 3 goals in 12 minutes. But like we saw with the Ethniki the other week, halftime came, and that was didn't do PAOK too many favors because Volos came out and really took the game to him, and it was a good goal from Bartolo. But also the management of the game by Abascal, the young coach for Volos. The goal number 3 and 4 were done by subs that came on no less than about 2 or 3 minutes afterwards. So Reimer had just been, so Rosero just got subbed in on the 56th. He scored in the 62nd. And then, so that was Rosero. And then Reiner later on subbed on in the 79th, scored in the 83rd minute. PAOK did come at him pretty strong at the end, but it wasn't enough. And, Volos, credit to them for that. For PAOK, look, it was an inconsistent match. They started off, the first half they were quite good, but they just didn't come in strong enough.
A team competing for the championship shouldn't drop a 3-goal lead like that.
Not at home,
Not at home. So it's I
they
can
were
understand
going
the
so
frustration.
well. They totally murdered Volos down Volos's right in that first half. Everything came.
When you guys when your mob beat Volos, which side was it?
That side as well.
That side as well.
That's where Carlitos was drifting left.
Yeah.
They totally just wrecked them, tore them to bits down Volos's right.
Yeah, that was Franco Romero had the shocker in that game.
Look, Vedinha could have iced it. Unfortunately, he didn't. He's copped a lot of social media brunt.
I think, was it Greg last week that said the international break's coming at the wrong time for PAOK?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I was thinking of you early when
there you go. Greg, your boy Ninis got himself on the 79th minute. Did he do any magic for him?
Look, he held the ball up quite well. Some good distribution as usual, and a yellow card to waste some time in the 94th minute. So
what's actually happened? Is there any reason why he's just gone back to?
No, I think he's just fighting for a spot.
I guess they've started well. So there's competition.
They've started well. There's a guy called Tsokanis. They got Fernandez and Barrientos in the middle.
Yeah,
they're playing a 4-3-3 this year, and the guys that are on there at the moment are just doing such a good job.
Yeah.
So they've even got a bit of depth, Volos. So I'm a bit worried about next week.
What was the you were talking about it the other day? The owner of Volos.
Achilles Bells.
Yeah, Bells.
Post-match, look, he mentioned a few things. He said Volos is an advertisement of football in Greece. And, it's a bit of an example for some of the other teams to pick up on. The way they've performed in the last few seasons, I can't disagree with him.
Oh, look, they're an advertisement for how to run a club, I guess.
Smart transfers.
From me, though.
For
obvious reasons.
But, they're just not a club that they don't look like they're ever going to garner any support.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Give it 10, 15 years, guys.
If they're still going to be around.
Exactly. There's Nicky Volo, hopefully, and Olympiakos Volo there.
Yeah, it's a shame that those two clubs kind of took a back seat there. But anyway, look.
It is amazing. It's amazing with Volos. Every time they get a team up there, they're usually a team that's doing something pretty special. I remember Olympiakos Volo years ago when they were in the first division.
Just over
and they even qualified for Europe. They were a great team. So there's something there. There's something special. They just need a team that get some fans behind them.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice. We'll see. Maybe merger is the word in Greece now. So maybe a couple Volos teams need to merger to get the fans in there. But it's an interesting time. Look, good on them. They're doing the right thing as a club there. I guess they're not going broke and they're running a sustainable thing. So that's all we can ask for in Greece.
There was talks of them building a little football stadium. This was at the start of, it was sometime last year. So curious to see if the way they manage the club is obviously quite good. But if we see something like that happen in the future, they're set for some time. But until then,
and that's the thing. If they can build themselves like a nice little 5,000-7,000 seat rectangular stadium, then it's perfect because they'll get their 2,000-3,000 fans if they with the weight fans and all that. So you might be able to build some noise, make some noise there. Good on them. All right, we move on. Panetolikos hosted OFI. Panetolikos went down 2-1 in that game. Karelis got the goals going in the 7th minute with this beautiful header. Nice pinpoint accuracy from Karelis there. Alexandro Malis was credited for the equaliser as an own goal, but if anyone saw that, Lazaros Lampro was weaving like a magician down the sideline and hugging the pretty much the sideline there, and somehow managed to pull off it was a cross, but it somehow deflected into the back of the net there. So they go into halftime 1-1, and in the 61st minute, 1, Angel Nera put away a penalty. There was a shot from just outside the box, and it's debatable whether it was going on target, but Garelli, as he turned to block the shot, his arm got in the way, and after a VAR inspection by the referee, he deemed it to be, what do they call it? It's when your arm, it's unnatural movement, or whatever they want to call it, unnatural movement of his arm. So that was called a penalty. Bit harsh, but it is what it is there. And Neda put the goal away, and that was that for that match. So OFI, first win of the season for them as well, I believe.
Yeah, and they've leapfrogged Banatolygos on the table now with that win.
Yeah, who had a nice little start to the season. Greg, now you were talking about Neoplias was mentioning John Toral. Now, Nick will remember him because he's a Birmingham player.
I was going to say, I can't remember that name at all.
Yeah, well, he's spent a lot of time. He's 26-year-old Spaniard, but he's spent a lot of his career in the UK with was a Barcelona junior, then he went to Arsenal, then he went to
graduates from Arsenal, yeah.
And then he just went to Scotland. Now, what did Neoplia say, Greg?
He was saying, so this guy's he's been injured since he came to OFI, but Neoplia was saying that this is the type of player that OFI really needs. He's got quite a CV, and while the fans don't know too much about him, he's a player to keep an eye on in Greece because he reckons he's exactly what OFI needs. He showed it in this game. I didn't get to see this game, but apparently he was quite a standout. And one to keep an eye on in this season. So one Toral, someone to watch out for.
Harper. Toral has an English mother and spoke the language since early childhood. So there you go. So
that's why. Okay.
Spaniel or Englishman.
Yeah.
Look, good on him. Spent time at Arsenal, Brentford, Birmingham, Granada, Rangers, Hull, back to Birmingham, and now OFI. So
it's a bit of a journey, man.
Yeah,
colourful career.
And only 26, attacking
26.
midfielder, and
26.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Don't we get a lot of those types in Greece?
Look, at least he's not 36.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Usually it's at the other end, isn't it, Nick?
That's exactly how it is. They're 36-year-olds and they've only played like 50 games their whole career.
Across 10 clubs.
Yeah, and Neopoulos is a smart coach. I've always rated him, so I think he's smart enough to be able to see some potential in these players. Greg, AEK, 3-0 winners. Arao in the 24th minute got the goals going. Half time it was 1-0, and then you guys got a couple late ones. Steven Zuba penalty and Vranjes 80th minute goal to make it 3-0. Impressive start by your new coach. Against Olympiakos as well, who are struggling, and there's a lot of
really struggling. Yeah. They are really struggling. Look, they actually probably got off to a better start. Glenadidis caused us a fair bit of problems, but look, we were okay. It's a similar game to what we saw under Milojevic so far. A few players to mention. Mitoglu got his first start for us and was man of the match. So that was, if anyone doesn't know, Gerasimos Mitoglu, who was signed from Volos last year.
Yeah. He's younger, isn't he, Greg? Younger than the brother.
Yeah, he's 21.
Yeah. The brother's, a basketballer.
Right, yes. So he was good. And then Lazaros Rota also got a start. He was really good as well, besides some really silly challenges that he made in the first half where we were actually lucky not to cop a penalty. So I hope he gets that out of the game. But otherwise, besides those brain farts, he was good. Look, we've got really good players that can finish chances. I just really wish we create more chances. Jeftic, the player we bought from Ruben Kazan, he got subbed off in the 34th minute with some type of injury. Darko Zeftic, I really haven't seen anything special from him. Every time he started, we just can't get anything going in attack, and we usually lose out in the midfield. So Mandalos replaced him in the 34th minute, and we automatically started getting a bit better that way. So that was good. Look, when we actually gel and can create more chances, we're going to be a really dangerous team to compete against. But we have to gel. We haven't done that yet. We're getting the wins, which is good because we haven't gelled yet. But as we get better, we're going to be, well, hopefully we just, be able to be a bit more consistent and get better in that final third to actually create more chances.
You impressed with your new coach?
Yeah, look,
early days, but
he made some good substitutions that were all done the right way. When Milojevic, on the other hand, we were a little bit some of his game management was questionable. So so far so good for the new coach. It's early days with Giannakis, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, good stuff. All right, moving on. Pasianina hosted Olympiakos. Olympiakos kicked off the scoring. Agibu Kamara in the 17th minute from a Masura's assist. Went into the game 1-0 at half time, but in the 61st minute, Rodrigo equalised for Pasianina there. And in the 84th minute, Yusuf El Arabi popped up, that used to be Hassan coming off the bench there to put these ones away. But now it's El Arabi being the super sub coming on and weaving some magic. Stephen, tricky game, but we got the points.
Yeah, Bus are a really tricky opponent, as we've seen this season with them previously. And it wasn't a stellar performance from us, obviously, because they're coming back from the international break and playing a tough nut team like Bus, but we got the win, and that's what's important. Martins, I think, managed the game fairly well throughout. There's a lot of rotation with regards to formations and such, and his substitutions overall worked, obviously, because El Arabi came on and scored. Onyekuru dyed his hair the correct color. It's close enough. It's like a pink, but it's kind of red. So I'll give him that. And it puts us top of the table. And defensively as well, we still look so solid. We're forcing teams to shoot from out wide. It's just there are still occasional, lapses in concentration, hence the penalty with Oleg, which was unlucky, but it was the correct decision.
Yes, it was.
And so, good win. And as I said, it puts us in a good stead going into this game on Thursday. Yeah, no, and
what have we got? Rodriguez made his debut for us, and he was quite happy. Put a post on there. How did you see him?
Yeah,
he
was lively as well, and he had a good international break. He scored. If you didn't see, he scored an absolute worldie for Cape Verde in the international break, and yeah, he'll be a good little player to have when we need to rotate after a European game, because obviously he's not in the European squad because we signed him a bit too late for that.
So look, that's not a bad thing as well. I'm actually happy that guys like him.
And he looks like he wants to play early doors. He looks like he wants to actually compete. Whereas that's, and I know it's hard to compare, but I'm already seeing more from him than I am currently from Ronnie Lopez, who maybe hasn't been given the opportunity, but is still, when he comes on, he's still not doing much.
There's always a signature, like if you haven't seen under Martins, that we come in and he doesn't, and they get bought and they don't play, and then you're wondering, doesn't make sense. But anyway,
it makes me wonder if that's another, like, one of those signings where Marinakis clearly initiated it and Martins just didn't want him. So Martins
I don't think Marinakis involves himself.
Maybe
if that was the case, Mitroglou would have been in our team years ago.
That's very true. Yeah.
Even Avram, 45-year-old Avram Papadopoulos came on in the 88th minute.
That's interesting because it doesn't matter because the game is done by then, and Avram, he's an old boy, but he can still do a job. But it's interesting that Markovic is not being kind of prioritized over Avram now.
Wasn't on the bench.
Evie's not, and that's another thing. He's not even on the bench in comparison to Avram. So maybe there's something going on with potentially. Maybe it's just training. Who knows?
Yeah, look, maybe he just needs to drop down into the B side and get himself some game time with. So maybe that's the case. Who knows?
Yeah, whenever the second division actually starts, that'll be good.
Yeah, let's not go there. Next week, the week after, next year, next month, who knows? Look, good win for the team, and undefeated and on top. So that's all we can ask for as fans there at the stage. Not playing well, but still doing enough to get the points. Last but not least, Hadzi's second favourite side, Aris, 1-0 winners over Lamia away from home. A Jakub Brabek goal in the 50th minute was the difference. Mind you, Lamia had Eleftheriadis sent off in the 37th minute, so that didn't help their cause there. Hadji, you excited? Your boys Aris, after having a -6 start to the season, picking up points slowly but surely.
It's picking up points, George, but still not convincing. I think, obviously they had a great season last season, finished in the top 3. But, hopefully, I guess they can just continue to pick up some points here and there. Let's be fair. I mean, they're in a relegation fight at the moment, and they need goals. You look at their last few performances; they've struggled up front. I feel.
Are they in a relegation fight? I mean, if they didn't get their -6 points, they're above Panathinaikos.
I think they'll finish in the top 6 regardless,
So
even with
think
the
so
6
too.
points.
yeah,
I just really worry about them up front. You look at even the stats in this game tell the story. 14 shots,
That's
6 on target.
That's the problem.
It's like obviously they tried to fix the problem last year with bringing in, the big signing. We all thought it was going to be the big signing with Droglu, but didn't work out. And I think they just lack.
Then they tried again. In the summer.
Then they tried again, and I just feel they're lacking that presence up front. I just feel that, and you see it in the.
Well, they got the big signing. Kamara came on.
They remind me different playing style, but they remind me of us last season, where I still think they'll finish in the top 6, but it's going to be a marathon, like a long way.
I think if they do make it in the top 6, Nick, it'll be on the back of their defence. They're not shipping goals. That's the positive side. You look at they've only probably shipped about 1 goal of a game in the past.
They haven't played. They've only played us. They haven't played Olympiakos. They haven't played OFI PAOK.
And that's again a worry. So look, let's just see how they go in the next few weeks. Probably some tougher competition. We'll get a real read over them. But look, like I say, I just think maybe in the January window, if they can bring someone in with a bit more starch up front, just finish off their chances.
Interestingly, though, right, last season when when Mitroglou came in, and Manos started picking up his game, but now he's also taken a backseat to Kamara, which is, I don't know, it's an interesting one with him.
I don't think
go on.
I didn't think is Mitroglou still around? I thought
I saw a post where he was having dinner.
He wasn't even on the bench for this game.
Look, I saw an Instagram post of his recently, and he was in Athens celebrating.
Yeah, right.
I think it was with Siovas, to be honest. I don't want to start rumours, but I don't want to start misinformation stuff. But he was somewhere in a restaurant in Athens. So
it was Fortuni's birthday recently, and Siovas was there.
Yeah, maybe it was someone's something, and they were in Athens at a restaurant. I'm thinking it was midweek, so I'm thinking to myself during the season. This was before the international break, so it's like, I mean, I know you're rich enough to be able to just catch a flight and be in Thessaloniki within an hour if need be, but you're not.
The thing is, George, it just shows the guy's mentality. Like, you're in Athens, you're not even with the first team.
Look,
I
think we're smart enough to understand that he was a player that was signed above the coach's head, and he hasn't been fit for years. I've said this, and I'll stand by it. I'd take him back at Olympiakos in a heartbeat. But you need to figure out where his head's at, and where his body's at.
The other point I'd make as well. I don't know if they're using. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Jago. I think he's a great player. He's got some real pace to him, but I don't know if Footy's utilising him to his full potential, and that is, playing him in the right position.
He's an automatic starter.
He's a starter. Yeah,
he was good last season.
Yeah,
do you think he should be playing a bit more further up, or what do you?
I believe so. I think he's an out-and-out winger, George.
Okay.
I think he's a winger. Yeah, he's got pace, creativity.
You got Bruno Gama and Daniel Mancini who have been killing it. So.
Yeah. I just think to get the best out of Jimmy, you need to play him in the front 3.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, look, as I said, if you give them back that -6, they've 6 points that they've lost. They're sitting in 5th spot on 11 points, which pushes Panathinaikos down.
As well. Yeah.
It pushes Panathinaikos down. So losing those points hasn't really affected them the way they've played this season. But you're right; they're not putting away the goals that they need to. Especially,
I guess it's a credit to the squad as well that they've been able to hold it together. After that,
players getting sent off as well in the 34th minute, you'd think that with 65 minutes in the game, you should be able to score more than one and make it a bit more convincing.
Particularly with the chances they've made, George. It's 37th minute, 14 shots, 6 shots on target. So
Let's see. Well, that's the round. So we'll look at the table now. Olympiakos on 14 points, undefeated. The only team that hasn't lost a game this season. PAOK on 13 points. Volos 13. AEK 13. Panathinaikos 10 points. Bas Yanina on 9 points. So that's a top 6. OFI best of the rest in 7th on 7 points as well. Ionikos 5. Panetolikos 5. Asteras 5. Aris 5. Lamia 4, Atromitos, who have had a shocker. And I don't know how they're going to get themselves out of this rut, are on 2, and Apollon Smyrni on 2 points.
I think everyone badly overestimated Atromitos, sorry.
Yeah, we looked at all their signings and we were like, they're going to challenge for top 6.
If you look at it now in hindsight, you look at Koulouris and Kolonaridis, they're as good as gone. Those guys.
Ludis, yeah. I mean,
they're finished, just jaded.
Yeah, that's it. And you wonder why
they gifted the game to AEK. Really, it was still, when it was in the balance, it was a penalty and a corner.
Yeah, and they were too quick. Yeah, right at the end as well. So yeah, I don't know. There's something wrong at that club there.
I still think they'll regroup enough to stay up.
They'll stay up, but I think the club built that team to push for Europe.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
So that dream is well and truly gone now. We'll look at next week's matches before we go into
massive round.
A bit of Greeks abroad and some European football. Atromitos host Ionikos, Apollon Bas, Asteras host Panathinaikos. So that's going to be a big one for your mob, Nico.
Massive. Yeah. And I'll tell you why after.
All right. Well, no, tell us now. Yeah.
Because you guys play PAOK and Volos plays AEK, so the top 4 essentially play each other.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Perfect. So what are you looking for? You're looking for a win there, so everyone can
any sort of win, and then at least 2
and then you probably
points.
want. Well, you
probably 2 will drop points. Draws, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting there. All right, Aris host Panetolikos, so it's going to be a tricky one for them. Where am I here? What happened here? Did I say this again? Am I saying this
Volos
right? Volos AEK.
Yeah, you guys.
OFI, sorry, Lamia. Sorry, my phone's glitching up. Probably the big one is Olympiakos and PAOK.
Yeah, massive. On the back of the European games,
off the back of Europe. I mean, PAOK conceded 4 against Volos a couple of days ago, so... Yeah, I mean, and we're at home, so I think the pressure would be on if we hadn't won that game against Bas. It'd be the pressure would be on us to win that game. But I think it's must win for both teams, and hope for the best for Olympiakos.
Doesn't suck that
you guys are okay though in Europe. You guys are safe in Europe. Where even if you lose, it's not a big deal. Whereas PAOK have to get something from Copenhagen.
True.
And that's the interesting thing that I want to say. And we can talk about it now, I guess. With Olympiakos is, like we got a European match and then we've got to come into a big game, and that happened to us when we played Panathinaikos as well. So who do you prioritise in this? Do you prioritise European football? Do you prioritise the derby match? Do you try to split the team and put half your best players in one and half the best players in the other?
It's a headache, but
it's just about correct rotation. I think, George. We have the squad, I think, to do it. I guess if we're talking about the European game now, Frankfurt are a team that's going to be extremely difficult away from home. And if I said it against Fenerbahce before, we absolutely slapped them. But a draw is a good result if we can get that in Frankfurt, because they lost on the weekend, despite the fact they beat Bayern. They beat Bayern before the international break, and then they go and lose at home, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
but then if we put it to them and we try to get a win, we pretty much sealed our fate. We've sealed first or second spot in that group.
If we can get a win, we'd have to really mess up to finish third. If we beat Frankfurt in match day 3 and we have 9 points after 3 games, to not finish top 2 would be a disaster. It'd be ridiculous.
So that's my thought process there. But then you got you never want to lose a derby match, especially if the
exactly. But then even a draw against PAOK is not a bad result, because then we still stay top. We theoretically, depending on other results, would stay top. But then we want both games to be in our own destiny. So if we can get a win in both, it'd be amazing.
Steve, I was just going to ask you, do you realistically think that Olympiakos could progress out of their group?
I think with the start we've
Absolutely.
made, I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Before, no.
I think so too. And I think also, I'll give you guys a fair chance of getting a result against Frankfurt. It'll be difficult, but I'll give you guys a chance to get a result.
The only thing I'd say, mate, is like we can't lose both games. I think against Frankfurt, we have to at least get something from both, or a win from one and a loss from another, and that's how I see it. Because by that time, if we drop 6 points, Fenerbahce will catch up, or Antwerp will catch up, depending on who wins either game. You know, so it's just about.
The other thing is
momentum.
The other thing is, I feel that. Sorry.
That's right,
I was just going to say, in whether it's Europa League or league games, I feel if you cop a loss or anything like that, it really shakes your confidence. So they really need to go out there and possibly, try and get at least a draw. But particularly the fact that they're still in with a chance. Like I said, I still feel they're good for a draw, but they need to realistically think about their chances of getting out of that group. And like you say, the squad's pretty good. So, yeah.
Sorry, guys. Nichols is right. It's my lucky yes. Anyway, we'll move on.
I wanted to make you laugh.
Yeah, no, you did. Yeah,
and I did.
It was about the Fortuna's birthday.
What
at the family restaurant.
What I wanted to say before, does third in the Europa League get you a Conference League spot?
I believe it does.
It gets you a Conference League spot.
Yes, it does.
Well, ideally, Nigel, we want to try finish first, because finishing first in the group takes you straight to the round of 16. Yeah. Whereas if you finish second, you have to then play a Champions League team that drops out.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
tricky.
Yeah, and it'll be difficult.
Yeah, that's right.
Look,
we'll probably end up getting Barcelona.
That applies to PAOK as well. 10 points usually is enough in Europe. So 3 wins and a draw.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's dependent on. That's why it'll be interesting to see what team we put out. Olympiakos puts out this week. In Europe.
A free hit for you guys, whereas PAOK, because they drop points to Slovan Bratislava, have to get something from Copenhagen.
Yeah. Well, moving on to them, yes. So they have to go. They have to go out to Copenhagen and try to get a result
team.
Because they
even without Zeka. Even without Zeka.
Yeah, so
extremely tough.
I think Steve's mate's there, isn't he? Sotirio?
No, he left, unfortunately. He went to Ludogorets, who and then he scored against us.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, your cousin, your bloody cousin.
It could be.
You're all cousins, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I shouldn't. Look, it's an interesting one for them. So they need the points more than we, theoretically, like if you want to look at it like that. But it's going to be a big weekend for both teams. So let's bring it on and see what happens. Pardon me for them there. Greeks abroad. Giannoulis. Lots. We'll start off with Giannoulis, just touching on him. He got himself back into the starting lineup. They had a 0-0 draw. All reports that he played well.
Yeah, back-to-back clean sheets for his club.
Yeah, Tsolis didn't get off the bench, and the fans were losing their marbles a little bit there, which was an interesting.
It's good to see the fans rallying behind both of them already, because they are good players and they have been two of the better ones for Norwich in my opinion this season. Maybe unbiased because they're Greek. Who cares? They have been good.
Especially I agree with you, Stephen. Yeah, I agree with you.
They were big. Tsolis was their record signing, so I believe it was a record transfer fee.
I don't know.
Okay,
I think maybe Shika.
Okay. Well, Kestika, he's their record signing in my books. But look, if you're Norwich and you're paying 10 million plus all these add-ons for a striker, play the guy. At the very least, if the game's on a knife edge, it's 0-0. It's not like you're taking him. You're not taking off a defender and putting him on. So
I thought he would have gotten a lot more minutes than what he is at the moment. I thought he would have been one of the main men.
Yeah. My worry with Giannoulis and with Tsolis is if Norwich are going to go down, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't want them to playing in a really tough league like the Championship because they'll just get bashed.
Giannoulis did all right.
Giannoulis killed it last year for him. in the second
Yeah.
half.
It all comes
just-
back to playing time. If they're not playing, get out of there. If they're playing, I don't mind them staying there.
Yeah.
But look at Zolis at the moment. Like if the way he's being treated, barely playing, that's ridiculous.
It's interesting. There's Stephen. Yeah, Stephen.
So just had a look. So Zolis, Rashida, Stephen Naismith, and Tim Klose are their joint most
Right. I thought
joint most
Rashida,
expensive signings at 9.9 million each.
Stephen Naismith.
Yeah,
that's
I
a
remember
blast from the past.
Scottish
they brought him
international,
in.
wasn't
I
he?
think
Everton.
they brought him in to try and keep them up, and then they
Yeah.
obviously didn't stay up.
And he made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Pavlidis seems to be able to score for his club and not for the ethnic year. Look, good on him. You know, we want him to be on fire.
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating. Like, I'm happy for him, but then I'm thinking, what are we doing? Is it us? Is it the
Is
system?
it him or is it us? Yeah.
Yeah, like
It could be a bit of both, because playing for your national team is a big responsibility, but also maybe it's how he's deployed in the team as well. And you can see that from how he moves as well. His movement is completely different for his club than it is for his country.
Yeah. Well, that's true as well. I mean, look, another one, Funtas. He scored on the weekend. He hasn't been given.
He doesn't get a look in though.
He doesn't get a look in at all now, and I don't understand that either. For a team that can't score, the ethnic your mother, you'd think that you'd
But he wouldn't come in and score. I couldn't see him coming in and scoring.
Well, it depends on how we're going to deploy him again, because he's going to
just on the way we play. I think someone like Hadzi will get onto Yakumakis. I think he's more of a chance just the way he plays.
Well, yeah. I mean, my thought process here again is like, he's obviously down the pecking order, but he doesn't even get a look in, and he's been consistent for his club for the last couple of years. Look, Limnios put one away.
Limnios scored, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mavropanos scored an absolute banger.
Yeah, that's true. So
And that's good. He recovered quickly from his brain snap, if you want to call it that in Sweden.
Yeah, and the being dejected, and all that afterwards. So it's good for him to be able to come out and put a good performance in. Likoyannis, he's going well as well.
Kyriakopoulos is back from injury as well.
Yeah,
There's all the left backs. I think Michael touched on it. He made a good point earlier with the Kutris Likoyannis.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, we love it. It was
too many left backs for me.
Too many left backs. So you got to pick some. I mean, I know
we should just have a team of left backs. We have enough.
I know, like Likoyannis would probably slide in as a centre back. I don't know. Like it's an interesting one how we do things in our side there. So and what we're trying to achieve. But I never want to see again a squad, an ethnic your mother squad with so many left backs in. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Boys, we'll go some questions that we put out there. SMFC, South Melbourne Football Club, Mike. Always listens to the podcast. Thank you, Mike. Now he's given us a question here, and I'll put it to you, Steve. Please discuss Olympiakos' unbelievable recent scouting from France. Camara ×2, Cisse and Bar are probably collectively worth 40 to 60 million on the transfer market, which appears to be remarkable scouting. Are Modesto and Carambel super connected within the French scouting system? Thanks. Mike, great question. Steve, simple answer, absolutely.
Yes, completely. France has been a hot hub for Olympiakos in the last few seasons. That's evident with the talent that we brought in. And not only is it the talent that we brought in, like just in general, they've just been great hit. They've all been hits. They've all been excellent players. Even the ones that are more experienced, Jan and Villa came from there as well, from Saint Etienne. And he's been a stellar player for us in midfield. And I guess Kenilala to a lesser extent, but he's still a great senior talent, and I still have faith in him. But yeah, the African contingency in our squad is excellent. They're such hard workers. They have all the ability in the world, and they have all the potential in the world as well. And Camara, both of them, Madi and Agibu, are showing that they certainly Camara, Madi more than Agibu right now. They could both play for top clubs in the future.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like,
not only France, Portugal for you guys as well.
Yeah, I think the Portugal one is maybe Martin's.
Yeah.
With his
that's just the
connections.
connection. Yeah.
I was watching on Villa over the weekend. The way we copped it from 2 Olympiakos old boys, Portuguese in that Wolves side.
Who were they?
Pedence came on and changed the game and won it for him. Sadly.
And Jose Sarr played well in goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, look, I think it's, from what I've read and what I understand, Mike, it's Modesto that's been the catalyst for a lot of these African guys coming across to Olympiakos. And you see the flow-on effect, because you're going to scout these young guys and you're saying, well, look at your counterparts over there. They're killing it as well, Olympiakos, and they're moving on to bigger and better things. So, look, long may it continue for us Olympiakos fans there, because it's a good business where you can buy cheap and sell big and make a nice little profit there.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, I don't think we're buying them cheap. I think not a lot of clubs probably would be able to afford the kind of finances that we're getting these players for anyway. So, I mean, we have to give credit to the club. I mean, they get the European money as well, but a lot of the time they put the money where their mouth is to get these transfers across.
But also, the players' stock increases, not only being part of Olympiakos, but also being showcased in Europe. That raises your stock immediately. If you can play at a certain level in Europe, that instantly increases your value.
That's right.
And if you had like Alexandropoulos now, big bucks.
Well, Nico, nice segue there, mate. Because we've got a question from Martin Henderson on Instagram, Mart_Hendo. Is it time for Alexandropoulos to start for Greece?
Absolutely. He should have started last week. Yeah.
I think
at least one of the games, at minimum one of the games. Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, he made a point.
He's become a key player now at club level.
The coach made a point to say, I gave him, when he was liaising with some of us on social media, and then. Yeah,
he gets around the park so well. Like he gets up and down. He gets stuck in defensively. He loves contributing in an attacking sense as well.
Yeah, no,
he has a good shot on him.
We need a change in the midfield. I just feel that
box to box. So that could be him. He could be our next Karahunis, hopefully.
Yeah, it's just you got to be able to. The coach needs to be able to just trust him and say, okay, listen, I'm going to make him my linchpin. I'm going to make him a focal point of my whatever I'm trying to build here. I think now.
Then having him in our midfield would give something different for Greece as well, because then you don't have to play Bouchalakis and Zeka, or and then you at least have another option on the bench to bring on if you're taking one of Zeka or Bouchalakis off.
Yeah,
then you
JVS will never do it. I'd look at a 4-3-3 because then that takes Bakasetas out. So you're essentially playing with Alexandropoulos and Zeka and another mid.
You're not taking out Bakasetas because, as I was saying before, Bakasetas right now is the focal point of what we're trying. John is trying to build.
No chance it's going to happen. Of course.
So if you can't,
not under JVS.
Not under JVS. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Under JVS, but look, Bakasetas is suspended next week, so let's see. Or not next week. Sorry, next game. The next international break. So let's see what happens there. Another question, Tas Zafiropoulos on Twitter at Tas TAS_Zaf ZAF. How long before we see a Kunde, Kamara, and Villa midfield combination? Sooner the better. So a bit of a question.
I forgot about Kunde as well. Yeah, Kunde is an excellent player.
Yeah, so Tas, look, it's interesting, man. Who knows with Martin's. Well, look, this weekend could be a perfect opportunity to see if he tries one midfield and tries another with the European match and the big derby match on the weekend. So
for sure, Kunde's been proven to be a good impact player when he's come on, and when he's started, he's full of energy. He's always productive. The one problem with having so many African players, unfortunately, is when the African Cup of Nations comes mid-season, you then lose like a few key players. And obviously we have players to come in and kind of play alternatively instead. You're still tough.
Losing key players.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing, theoretically, you're losing like the likes of El Arabi, you're losing Kunde, you're losing Kamara, you're losing Cisse. So, and
Siovas is going to come in for cover that.
Siovas is going to come in, Manolas is going to come in. We're gonna.
Mitroglou's going to come in. Samaris is going to come in.
Yeah, bring all the
Maniatis.
boys.
Maniatis, jeez.
Maniatis.
Yeah,
I
so
think
now
he
you had to
actually
push
did
it
come
too
back
far.
to the club.
Someone had
didn't
to
he?
push it too far.
Didn't
Maniatis.
I swear,
He's
he
retired.
not
He's
as a
retired,
player,
hasn't
but
he?
like as a
I was going to
part
say,
of
I thought Maniatis was out.
Yeah,
I
he's
thought
retired.
I swear I read something. He came.
I
didn't
was
he
just
come
trying to
back
be
as-
smart.
Where's
I
that
don't know.
photo? There's always that photo of him on social media
Like this,
where,
yeah.
where just like with his face all
Yeah.
mental and his eyebrow just one. Anyway, look, I think we've touched on everything there, guys. So,
Now that we got Hansi, I just wanted to ask him about Yak Watch.
yeah, well, there you go.
Yak
Yak
Watch.
Watch.
Yak Watch. Yeah,
Look,
that's
I
what
hate
everyone's
that.
calling it.
I hate that hashtag. It can't be said, but that.
I hate that. It's so
Yak
stupid.
Watch.
I love it, but I
You know
hate
what?
it. It's-
If it pushes Ange to start playing him more, then let it run. I say the big thing on
What's the
Celtic
latest? He
fans.
came
you know,
on, didn't he?
he came on for 15 minutes, Nick,
Oh, 15.
against Motherwell, I think it was. And it's becoming a recurring theme with him because he did the same thing, I think, against the Foot. They played in the Europa League against Bayer Leverkusen, lost 4-0, brought him on with 15 minutes to go when the game was done.
Yeah, that's right.
I still think he's struggling with his calf and the way that Ange wants to play. It's not entirely his fault. I just think because it's not just him that has copped injuries. You know, Kyogo, their big striker, obviously, big money striker, and then also, obviously Liel Abada's had some issues as well on the wing for Celtic.
I know
they're all-
the weather thing might be an issue, but it gets cold in the Netherlands as well.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I just think George, funnily enough, he hasn't been able to bring his own backroom staff in, Ange, and I think that's affected because of the way he wants to play. I just think if he gets the staff that he wants in, he'll be able to get some strength and conditioning into these guys, and you know they won't struggle as much with injury.
Everything started late at that club, and that's why I reckon Ange is going to. I think unless they have a catastrophic failure this year, I think he's going to survive this season.
I think he'll get through. I think he'll
because
get through.
he got there late. Then he got all his key signings late, like Joe Hart, the striker that he bought from Japan with him. Yakumakis, and he had to fight to get those players in as well at the club. So to me, it doesn't sound like all's well at the club in the backroom staff, and I think a lot of the fans see that as well.
have directed their criticism at the board in the hierarchy rather than Ange Postecoglou, because it's not his fault. He's
the guy that Sorry, Stephen. I was just going to say also the guy that actually hired Ange stood down. I think it was Don Mackay, the former CEO. So he's the guy that actually brought Ange in and interviewed him and actually vouched for him to get him to the club. He's now gone. So there's some real pressure on Ange to start getting some results, albeit he's had some 2 good away wins recently.
Yeah.
But I think he'll turn it around. It's just they've got to be patient with him. In regards to not just Yakumakis, but also I think he'll get a go, and I think he'll eventually start for them, and I think he'll do quite well the way that Ange wants to play. The real problem is going to be with Vargas. You know, he's in big trouble. He's in big trouble in that club. I honestly think
I forgot all about him.
Yeah,
he'll be back in Greece.
He's in big. Yeah, and we were saying that a few weeks ago, Nick. I honestly think for his own playing time, or I don't even know what he wants to get out of it. He's happy to just take the money at Celtic.
Sorry, Theo. Do you guys remember when he signed for Celtic, his dad pushed him? There was another, I can't remember, there was another club that wanted him, but his dad influenced the move for him to go to Celtic because it was like a big prestigious club and all that, and blah, 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 blah. Who was the other club though? There was another club, I think in Holland or Germany.
Isn't he like Dutch?
Yes, he was born. I was just going to say, Nick. He is. Yes.
So there was another club in Holland. I don't know who it was, but there was another club. And okay, granted, it wasn't probably as prestigious as Celtic and all that, but it was in a better league and a different league. Look, I don't think he's doing himself any good sitting on the bench or not even sitting on the bench.
Put it this way, George, he's not starting in front of Joe Hart.
No.
Joe Hart's in the top 3 keepers in the SPFL.
Well, Ange had to come and crack it in the media, I remember, to get Joe Hart at the club. So it was his man. He brought him in to the club. So, he's not starting over him. So, look.
And they
Barkas
play,
needs
I
to
think,
move on.
tonight, overnight, our time, like tomorrow morning in the
Fenerbahce, yeah.
Well, that was the thing, and if you segue to that, there was an interview that Ange had in the media today. BBC put it up, and he was talking about Puskás. And then I was just like I was saying about his time with him at South Melbourne, and how he learnt a lot from him as a senior player, and that made him into who he is as a coach. Anyway, long story short, I start scrolling through all the comments, and all the Celtic fans are going, "This is another reason why we love Big Ange." So it was all like praise. He wasn't like, "Shut up, stop talking," stop.
I think all
from the fact.
I think all that support came off the back of Neil Lennon's comments about a few weeks ago. I think it was Nick. Neil Lennon came out and bagged him for the way he was trying to get the Celtic to play, and Neil Lennon's just the has-been. He just needs to shut up.
There's no
and just
love
take
lost
a back
with
seat.
Neil Lennon and the fans.
Let's be honest. He came in as Mr. Fix-It, when Rodgers left, and he's put them in the position that they are now in terms of the squad. So
Would accept it with Neil Lemon. I know he's a redhead. He's a ginger, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway. Like you got these guys that are failures as coach, and have half a successful season, or whatever, have success in Scotland, and all of a sudden they think they're, who was the other Malacca? Chris Sutton. He came out and he started slating out. I'm thinking, mate,
another one.
Mate, you failed in the EPL. Okay, granted, I think he won the championship with Blackburn. Back in the day. You had a half a decent career in Scotland playing against farmers. Must be like.
In saying that, I think generally he's been getting some really good support from the Scottish media, particularly John Hart. He's been really supportive.
Look, I think at the end of the day, as I said, I think unless he has something catastrophic and the team ends up just being pathetic, I think he's going to see out his job. And if you saw like what happened in Japan, and I think even in Australia, his first season at the club, they're not that good. Yeah. And then for whatever happens, something happens the second season.
That's the other thing.
They absolutely brain it. So
that's the other thing I was saying to Nick the other day. Like we're just looking at all these. It's just a complete rerun of what he's done before. It's just the same thing.
I think he needs to get in there, get his feet under the table, show the club what they want. Doesn't deviate from what he wants. Figures out what's happened. Gives himself that 12 months to figure out who's on his side and who isn't, or who can play the game the style that he wants, who can't. Moves them on, gets his boys, and then obviously they'll brain it. So if there's any Celtic fans listening, I think you're going to go undefeated all next season under Ange in the Scottish League there. Anyway. All right, boys. Well, look, I think that's it. Anything else? No, that's it. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. We love all the questions. We love all the interaction that we get from you guys. Look, the more the merrier. Just a short, snappy one today with Super League and a few European matches out there. If you listen to us on iTunes, if you give us a 5-star review, that would be fantastic. But we're on all major podcast platforms. We're on YouTube as well. You'll find us on whatever's available there. The podcast is on. So thanks for listening, guys. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll do it all again next week, boys. See you later.
See you, George.